Hello, welcome to Factory Talk, and it's good to be back. And to celebrate, we've come up with a budget-busting episode featuring not one but two guests. And over the course of this programme, we're going to be looking at that relationship, the key relationship between manufacturing and digital businesses. Well, firstly, we're welcoming back Ben Morgan, who is Research Director at the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, and making his Factory Talk debut, we also have Jamie Hinton, CEO and co-founder of Razor. Gentlemen, it's really good to see you. Let's start with you, Ben. If you can give us just a quick reminder of what the AMRC is and what it does.
Hi, Richard. Yes, so the AMRC, the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, is part of the University of Sheffield. It's part of the government-backed high-value manufacturing catapult. And essentially, we de-risk technology and we drive innovation into the manufacturing industry to try and make it more globally competitive. So we're 600 engineers, roughly, seems to be growing every day. We're about £300 million worth of assets, mainly based in the Sheffield and Rotherham region in Yorkshire, but we now have facilities over in Broughton in North Wales, supporting Airbus, and in Preston, supporting BAE Systems and their supply chain over there. So we've got about 130 businesses that we're partnered with, from large OEMs through to small SME businesses. And we were originally founded with Boeing to support their supply chain in the UK, but since then things have changed and grown, and we still support Boeing, but we support a lot of other businesses in the UK as well.
Perfect. Jamie, if you'd like to introduce Razor, and perhaps as it's your first time, just a brief history of the company.
Sure. It's great to meet you, and thanks for having me on, Richard.
Pleasure.
So, Razor, we're a technology agency, and our strapline is the technology works. And we work across all sectors of the business to help them stay profitable and prosper using technology. We've been around actually since formally from 2009, but we really started to get going in 2014. We're at 30 strong now, and that's always growing a bit like the MRC, but we're way behind their numbers. Although we're a technology company, we're very, very focused on people, because just like manufacturing, without the people, what you're making it for, and you can't make stuff. So everything we do starts with a foundation of people, and we believe that is the way to move forward. Not only is that a foundation in what we do and how we do it, we believe it's the way that we speak to companies as well, and what we do. So we're not about replacing people, we're about making them better, faster, stronger, and superhuman. And you can sort of see it around me. That's what we're about, and we really, really do believe in that.
Cool. Right. So, gentlemen, then tell us about your relationship, about the two sides. Do you work together? I think you do. Tell us how that goes.
Yeah, if I kick off, I think the AMRC have worked in digital manufacturing pretty much since the inception, trying to drive advanced manufacturing technologies, and a lot of that was through digitalization. But suddenly Industry 4 sort of popped up probably around 2014, and AMRC came up with a bit of a strapline that we called Digital Meat Manufacturing. And that was really trying to leverage some of the strength of the digital and tech community that Razor are clearly a part of in Sheffield, and tie them and really convene them with manufacturing nationally, but certainly in the region as well, and try and solve some of the challenges that manufacturing was facing, but with a slightly I guess a slightly different approach than some of the big OEM digital businesses, the way they were approaching it. So we held an event to bring these manufacturers and digital communities together. It was around Industry 4, and Jamie was in the audience, and I'll pass to Jamie.
Yeah. It was amazing, actually, because we got this invite to say come and meet people at the AMRC. It was at Factory 2050. And never actually been there before. I'd driven past it and just been a little bit amazed. And I've always loved that whole thing of manufacturing and just making stuff. And from a history of making race engines in the past, I just love making things. And this invite really sparked my imagination. And we went to Factory 2050. When we walked in, it felt like as a small child being inspired by. There's a jet engine, there's a robot arm, there's a car being built, there's plane bits, and just all of the, I suppose, amazing things that go on. And because we do digital stuff, we don't really get to see this tangible element to it. So we're absolutely intrigued by it. And I remember it was a talk by Rab Scott, who's the head of digital at the AMRC, and I remember him saying, who here doesn't know what Industry 4.0 is? And I stuck my hand up, and I was almost like one of the only people putting my hand up. And he goes, why are you here? Because I want to find out. I want to do something. I care about this industry. I care about the future of this country in the north and what everyone does. And if we can be a part of helping that prosper and grow, then we've got to be a part of it. So we wanted to listen and learn. And what happened from then was we could just tell that we were so aligned culturally and our values of what we were trying to achieve. We just got on really well. It was almost like I'd always been there, and it was just so friendly. And that relationship sort of fostered and grew. And there were a few opportunities where there was an opportunity for collaboration. And unfortunately, these didn't come to pass, but it was okay. That whole thing of it's okay to get it wrong, it's okay to fail. And we kept going, we kept building these relationships. And one of these opportunities did come to fruition, and we collaborated on something that was, I'd say, one of the hardest things we've ever done. It's absolutely bonkers and amazing. And I think that really forged our relationship. And I think we look back on that and just go, that was amazing. But look what we're going and what we're doing in the future as well.
Yeah, that was something I'm quite interested in about how it works. Is it? It's got to be mutually beneficial, else you wouldn't do it. But how the two of you actually sort of work together, what you both get out of it.
Well,
yeah, I think.
Go on, Ben. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's without doubt, yes. It's absolutely mutually beneficial. I mean, the project that Jamie talks about was for an OEM aerospace business, and it was really at the bleeding edge of innovation and technology. It was a really difficult challenge to tackle. And we used kind of all our worth to try and do it. So we reached back into the university for some academic support at a kind of science level, but we also reached out to Razor to try and help us industrialize the software and the system that we'd developed and de-risked as part of the program. And we very much see Razor and saw them at the time, and they've become kind of part of the AMRC family, and it just feels like an extension of the team. So it's truly collaborative, and I think that's part of the success.
Jamie, before you went to that initial meeting, did you look at manufacturing and digital as two separate things? I'm interested what the similarities and differences are between the two sides.
It's really interesting because, like I said, my background has come from a very manufacturing, an industrial making stuff and race cars and race engines and making boats and stuff. And there's always, we make things. So there's a very similarity in we love making stuff, but in the digital world, we're not making something you can tangibly feel. And that's something, that's a real similarity. We just love making things and forging the future and moving forward and improving by little minorities. Now, I did see it as there's manufacturing over there and there's digital over here. But when you actually combine the two, it's absolutely magic. And that might not be something that's infused in making a product digital or making it smart, as it were. Maybe there are other things. Maybe there's automations that make you more efficient that maybe a manufacturer hasn't looked at. Maybe it's back office. Maybe it's those integrations. Maybe it's even just knowing what happens on a shop floor. And I think that's, for me, is the really inspiring, exciting bit when you bring these two things together and you take the differences and mold them together to make something amazing.
You mentioned there that you don't make anything that's tangible, that's solid. Do you find there's any resistance to you from manufacturers because that they do, if you like?
Yeah, I do see that, and I do see that there's what are you making? Where's the actual output? And I think what we try and do is we change the message of what we're saying around what's the value of what this can do. I think everyone's seeing it in all industries how digital is disrupting. And if we change the message to be, okay, we don't have something tangible, but actually what we are producing is value, and you bring these two things together and we amplify what you're doing right now, surely that's a great thing. It's got to be.
Are you finding, Ben, that more manufacturers are now becoming open to the digital transformation?
Yeah, I think it's taken a little while, and certainly a little bit longer than we might have hoped. Lots of manufacturers have been doing digital since the early 2000s, possibly before that. Industry 4, when that kind of came as a concept, 2014, I think it started to create a real buzz around digital, but a lot of the smaller businesses didn't know what that meant to them. And I think it's taken 5, 6, 7 years on, it's taken a little bit of time for people to adjust. But certainly the pandemic has, perhaps as I mentioned last time on the show, I think it's offered opportunities, and I think it has accelerated the digital transformation for a lot of businesses. And I think that has been positive in a lot of respects for UK manufacturing. I think those manufacturers that have adjusted will benefit in the long term from that transformation.
Yeah, it's been a difficult year, Jamie, but are you finding that COVID has, in hindsight, possibly helped your business?
Yes, I would say. I think it's that just like Ben was saying, that realization that digital is here to stay, and what it can do it's amazing. COVID's forced us to engage with it and shown what's possible. So for us, it's accelerated everything from digital, the work we do with the AMRC, all of that sort of stuff. Yes, it's shown people what's possible, and not to fear it. And this is one of the big things. People, I think, fear change. They fear what this can do, and actually you need to embrace it. And yes, it's helped people overcome that fear.
Do you think the genie's out the bottle now and there's no going back?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you can't go back from this now. It's shown that what's possible. I don't know if you've seen the same thing as well, Ben.
Certainly, yeah. I think a lot of businesses have taken it head on, and and started to invest and updated shop floors. And I think the role we can play, to use a bit of an analogy, is to support businesses to be able to upgrade their digital technology on the shop floor as easy as the consumer updates their mobile phone, and with the same amount of thinking. It's a bit of a no-brainer to update your mobile phone after 2-3 years, because you want the latest tech and you want it to run quickly and have all the features to make your life a little bit easier. And that's where we need to get to with manufacturing in the UK.
That sound you might hear in the background is me just blowing my own trumpet here. But isn't this show perhaps an example of what can be done? We're talking from 3 completely different sites. We're using the latest technologies. We're using 5G. We're using everything. And we're achieving what 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we couldn't achieve.
Yeah, without a doubt. If you just think about 10 years ago, what was possible, what's it going to be like in 10 years' time from now? Let's not be behind. Other countries have the opportunity to leapfrog again in front of us. Let's not let that happen. Let's embrace it and run with it, I think.
Right, let's talk about some of these future technologies. You mentioned some of them already, Ben. We talked about Industry 4, AI, 3D printing. Let's look forward then. How important is that going to be moving in over the next 5 years, the next 10 years? We'll start with you, shall we, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's crucially important. I think there's lots of technologies on the market, and you've mentioned some of them there. And the critical point here is that businesses are investing in the right technologies for their business. And although difficult, perhaps sort of financially at the moment, they need to be planning for the long term. And some of these technologies might not get the return on investment, within a year or 2 years. But I think as you start to invest in these different different processes and different technologies, you see them come together and increase the return on investment exponentially. And truly, I believe that the businesses that don't invest in them are just going to get left behind, unfortunately. I think that's just the way it is, particularly with all the challenges that we've got ahead, recovering from the pandemic. Don't want to mention Brexit, but without a crystal ball, you don't know how these things are going to affect the industry as a whole.
Jamie, I can hear you agreeing in the background there.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think it's that whole thing. No one knows what the future holds, and the only way we can predict the future is to create it. So let's go forth and do these things. We talk about 5G, for example, and it's like, well, why should we invest in that? And I don't think that everyone understands the impact that it can have. Okay, you might get better connectivity, but it's about the latency that it offers. So you can do absolutely so many crazy things. And if you're investing in it now, sure, it might not have a return on it in the first month, first year, maybe 2 years. But I tell you what, when you've invested it in further down the line and it's amazing, you're already ahead. And that's the key. Let's think longer term rather than tactical short term all the time.
One of the key things to come out of this programme is people talk about British innovation. Historically, we've always been a country of great innovators. How do you feel we are at the moment? How is the state of British innovation now?
I think it's I think it's got fantastic opportunities. Is what I would say. I mean, I would say that there is a hugely strong academic and innovation base in the UK, and that's not just the universities and the high value manufacturing catapults, but organisations like TWI, MPL, the other catapults such as DigiCat. We've got a fantastic mass now of innovators and researchers trying to support the industry to really become globally competitive, and we've got lots of opportunities to do it and to really capitalise. So the government's 10-point plan that was recently published mentioned numerous different technologies, particularly around energy and transportation, where if we get it right, we can not only build our own small modular reactors or offshore renewables, but we can export them as well, and I think that's what we've to some degree lost. But the key here is there's potential, there's talent within the UK. Businesses like Razor being a great example of businesses that want to make things better, but we do need the government to invest and to support these opportunities.
Jamie, let's just finish then by looking forward to the new year and beyond. What would your wishes be? Politically, if you like, or just industrially? Whatever you want. Floor's yours.
I try and keep out of the politics.
Coward.
The biggest thing for me is that I just want manufacturers to take action, however small it is. Do something. Just leverage technology. Just go and investigate. Go and do something. Learn about it. I do want to see the government really getting behind the manufacturing industry, because it's so foundational to what we can do. We need to. If we get the government behind us, then it makes us be proud of what we can do and that innovation, and believe in ourselves. We don't have to always outsource stuff to other countries. We need to bring it here. We need to sell our stuff across the borders. Why not? So for me, it really is about do something, take some action, learn something, and take those steps. Engage with the AMRC. They can help you. They can help you on every sort of level. You don't have to be a huge OEM to engage with them. And I think that for me is the real key. Go and do something. Be inspired. Go and engage with it.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us this week. I've really enjoyed it. Ben and Jamie, thank you very much indeed. That's it for this week's Factory Talk. Just as a reminder, you can always catch up with previous episodes. You can even find Ben in one of the earlier editions here on MTD MFG. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.